Maneva na sema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
Mr. Speaker. Oh, please, minority leader, please. Yes. Exactly the reason why I'm on my feet is a former leader of the House. You can make your point without suggesting that local audit firms are not giving jobs because they are compromisable. It cannot be, and they are not competent. That is what you have said. That is why jobs are given to foreign audit firms. He said, it's here external. What does external mean? What does external mean? So, Mr. Speaker, we must not allow that to stay in the record. We must withdraw.
Honorable Minority Leader.
Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, our side participated in deliberations of the committee. Speaker, for the records, it is our case that when the draft report was ready, our side did not get the opportunity to peruse the draft. Mr. Speaker, to peruse the draft. Mr. Speaker, specifically the ranking and deputy ranking of the Committee on Finance did not have the opportunity to peruse the draft to state the minority's position. Mr. Speaker, we don't want to set a certain precedent. The chair of the committee, who is himself a leadership, knows the protocols, that the committee is not a one-sided committee. It is made up of two sides of the House, and when the clerk of the committee generates the report, same is perused by both parties, leadership of the committee, the chair and the ranking. Then, once they agree and the respective leaders put in the views of their caucus, the final report is generated. That is the practice. Mr. Speaker, it is the case of the minority. It is a case of the minority that the report be amended to it is the case of the minority that the committee's report, as contained in paragraph 9, page 7, be amended to reflect majority decision, not a consensus. It is a report by majority decision. Mr. Speaker, that said, we, the minority, would want to state why we are against this bill. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the memorandum of the bill, the memorandum reads at paragraph 3.
Yes, Minority Leader. Just hold your peace. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, with all due respect, the procedure just enunciated by the minority leader at committee levels is inaccurate. Now, at committee levels, the position of the caucus is stated before a report is generated. You don't state your position after a report is generated and approved. So if you are doing this as an afterthought, you will say this, that upon hindsight, you are deciding to go against the terms of the report. Don't come and say that it is the leaders who generate the views of the caucuses. That is not the procedure. The procedure is that every member of the committee will state his or her position. It is then conveyed and communicated in the report. So if a caucus in a committee decides that they will have a minority position, it is stated before the clerk takes that to constitute the report. So please, minority leader,
Honorable,
let's let the record
Majority Chief Whip. before the minority leader will come in. You are right. You are right in the sense that per our rules, there is nothing like caucus decision in our committee meetings. We have minority and majority. The members present at the committee meeting will take decision on the report, and it is the outcome that is communicated to the plenary. It is possible that somebody belongs to a ruling government, but at the committee level will be in minority. It is possible you belong to the opposition government, but at the committee level you will be in a majority, depending upon the way the decision is taken. So to say that the committee report must reflect the caucus position, I beg to differ. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the minority on the committee expressed their opposition to the bill and its report, and indicated that clearly that the decision be by majority decision because the minority were opposed to it. Mr. Speaker, that is why when the final draft of the report was ready, the ranking member indicated to me that he did not get the opportunity to peruse it to ensure that same reflected in the final report. I am here as a leader of a group of members on the committee who are in minority, and it is the instructions that I am carrying out in this chamber.
Your position that you have stated
Mr.
that
Speaker,
I have a problem
Let me make my argument.
is that
Mr. Speaker, can I make my argument?
Caucus position.
Mr. Speaker, if I have brought clarity, so let me make my argument. Mr. Presiding Officer, let me make my argument. Mr. Speaker, the minority opposition in this bill, on this bill and this report, is not a lame opposition. It is well founded on law and in fact. Mr. Speaker, first, if you read paragraph 3 of the memorandum accompanying the bill, this is what the memorandum accompanying the bill says. With your leave, I quote, globally, countries such as the United Kingdom, Canada, Singapore, Slovakia, and the United States have established statutory frameworks such as the National Audit Office of the United Kingdom, the Value for Money Audit Manual of Canada, and the United States Government Accountability Office to ensure the optimal use of public funds. The adoption by Ghana of a similar framework will align with global best practices and strengthen the public financial management architecture of the country. End quote. Mr. Speaker, if this is indeed the intention of government, then it is important that this side of the house make certain disclosures to government. One, the institutions that you have mentioned as your reference point, if you look at their governance architecture, they are not politically controlled. So the kind of alignment you are talking about does not find expression in the very bill you are bringing. So don't confuse us by telling us that, yes, you want to comply with best practices globally, but in adopting it, you go on a path that would rather expose this country. Honorable Nitiwo made an elaborate submission on why this bill will rather promote corruption. Mr. Speaker, and I will take you through the clauses. First of all, Mr. Speaker, if you go to clause 4 of the bill, clause 4, Mr. Speaker, clause 4 deals with appointment, governing office governing body of the office. The governing body of the office is a board consisting of chairperson nominated by minister. By the minister, the very thing you want to cure. The minister would have his alter ego. Alter ego. Who doesn't know that before a minister makes an appointment, he would first look at loyalty to him? Not only competence, loyalty. Ab initio, are you creating an independent body? That is why we are telling you that, look, you have the Public Financial Management Act, you have the PPA Act itself, and then the internal organizations that we have in public institutions allow for some level of value for audit. And where it is required that certain level of procurement are to be undertaken, external value for money institutions that are independent are relied upon. Why don't we look at this and strengthen where we think there are loopholes? You are creating another bureaucracy, which is government controlled, Mr. Speaker. The next person is a representative of the Attorney General of the same government. A lawyer from the legal directorate of the ministry, nominated by the minister. One expert in gender equity, nominated by the minister. Mr. Speaker, then you have the Ministry of Finance, a director to be nominated again by the minister. Mr. Speaker, the net effect is that the same problem that the government wants to cure would rather become complicated. There will be no cure. The outcome will be odious. It will be odious. Because, Mr. Speaker, you are planting something or nothing. You are going nowhere. How can you say that you need an enactment with a whole bureaucracy, with another budget, and then the minister is controlling? Who said that the minister cannot call the chairman and tell the chairman that, look, this thing is coming, so deal with it? Mr. Speaker, it is probable, not possible, because all those in charge are controlled by the minister. Mr. Speaker, when we talk as minority, we are not just shouting or we are not just opposing. We are telling our colleagues that watch the space. We don't need this law. The Public Financial Management Act provides for certain stringent measures. It was your own law you brought in 2015, 2016. I was a young member of parliament on the finance committee, and we passed that law for you. It is there. Mr. Speaker, it is there. Why would you now come and create another bureaucracy for what the ordinary man on the street will call chop chop? Why would you create another bureaucracy that the ordinary man on the street will call yenchendi? Mr. Speaker, as political leaders, we must be careful about the impression we create out there. I am all for this reset agenda, to the extent that, oh yes, to the extent that the reset will help create a better Ghana. Mr. Speaker, we don't have a perfect system, but so far with respect, I beg to submit that you are a walking contradiction. So far, I must submit that you are a walking contradiction. You have not lived to the promises that you made. Otherwise, why would you? We have a deputy chief of staff who has a company. Then Gold Board would award 11 million sole source contract to the, that's a typical example of your working contradiction. It's a matter of fact. I can furnish you with a document. It has not been denied.
After him,
it's not coming from me.
So note your points.
It is not coming from me. I'm giving you an example that I'm saying that these are matters in the public domain. Gold Board says it published the contract on its own website. It's not Afenyo market where you will take me to privileges. This is not me. So if you are in a hurry to take me to privileges, this is not me. It's not me. Gold Board says that the contract, the 11 million contract is awarded on sole source, has been published on its own website. That is fact number one, not me. Two, the owner of the company has not come to deny. He wrote publicly and said, but my party is in power. Should my business not work? Should my company not work? He himself admitted. So nobody should carry any impression that Afenyo Marking says. It is the facts. The prayers themselves are saying so. Jamie, me na kesani e. Je Afenyo Marking e rio. I'm a dench, I'm a care, I'm in Yeshka. They themselves said so. Ayoni, Mr. Speaker, they said that they did the business. To which they have awarded the contract to themselves. They say everything was clean on sole source. And I'm saying that if the government is saying that it wants to cure sole source and ensure value for money, we don't need a new law. We don't need a new law. We have the PPA Act itself. In the PPA Act, when a document is submitted, PPA is required to do value for money. It's supposed to validate, verify, and do its own checks. So that in itself, a form of value for money. We government should rather strengthen PPA Act. After all, government brought an amendment to this house for the PPA law. We all supported the law. The finance minister, one of the first things he did, which I applauded him, was to do this amendment, which required that there must be a pre-approval of contract, procurement. I've forgotten the name he called it. Commencement authorization. Mr. Speaker, I on this floor praise the finance minister for doing that. It's not every day that we oppose our friends. On this floor, the public record will bear me out that I praise the finance minister for introducing that commitment authorization policy. Because, Mr. Speaker, I was once upon a time a road fund board chair, and I knew the challenges and how I fought hard to save the public purse. And I thought we needed strong laws, strong policies. So, Mr. Speaker, once there is a reform, I will support it. Because as political leaders, Mr. Speaker, we don't have a positive impression out there, whether you are NDC or MPP. But let us take advantage once we are in office, whether in government or in opposition, to do proper reform. What we are seeking to do is rather to open the Pandora box. This law, if it is enacted, will rather be the right channel for corruption. This law will rather, Mr. Speaker, I know the minister means well by saying that let us model this. But, Mr. Speaker, the way it has been structured, it will not. Mr. Speaker, I've done some work. These institutions that he wants to follow their example, Mr. Speaker, these institutions do not have government appointees on them. Overseas, he should check it. The deputy minister is here. As we talk, members of parliament should just go on the internet, Google. The institutions that you are referring to in other jurisdictions, they are not government controlled. They are not government controlled. So if you want to still use a political system under Article 70 and 195, I've read the law. You are saying that the appointment of the board will be in accordance with Article 70. I've read it. Colleague, I am not just opposing you. What you are doing is wrong. You are also talking about 195 of the Constitution. Why don't we allow the existing laws to operate, strengthen them, don't open this one up? Because if you open this one up, Mr. Speaker, there will be corruption. That said, the minority will not rubber stamp this bill. We will not. If the majority will not listen to these strong views and take same on board, and rather bring amendment of existing laws, and it wants to pursue the path of chop chop, as the ordinary man will say, we, the mighty few, the 87, we wash our hands. We will not be part of this unholy act that would rather expose the state and make the state vulnerable. Carry your burden alone. Mr. Speaker, I so submit on behalf of the minority.
It's now the turn of the majority. Yes, majority Chifu.
Mr. Speaker, I have been on my feet for some time. The minority leader has said very dangerous things that must not be allowed to stay in our records against government. He has said emphatically, and he spoke Ghana. Speaker, the Ghana that he spoke, he refused to translate it. And the translation goes to this. He says that they are chopping. That the government, please, I listen to you in quietude. Yes, I was on my feet to protest the unwholesome things you were saying about government.
Well,
and they are in breach of Order 93.5. Mr. Speaker,
if indeed minority leader said things in Ghana, which, as a matter of fact, has not been translated into English, then I will consequentially direct that based on Standing Order 63. That is why I am saying that in the event that what you say has not been translated into English, then based on Standing Order 63, same should be expunged from the record.
Mr. Speaker, the danger of what the minority leader does is that because our proceedings are carried instantaneously, they do not only have effect by staying the Hansard, they are carried out live. He has been compelled once, just recently, to withdraw things that he said that were in error. And so to say that government is bringing this bill just to do chop chop, which is to just fester corruption, is absolutely untenable. It's in breach of Order 93, Rule 5. Mr. Speaker, let me read. Mr. Speaker, let me read. Please, Mr. Speaker, please. Can you comport yourself? I am not your junior. You cannot intimidate me. I intimidate you in this chamber. Mr. Speaker, he has to withdraw. No. The minority leader, you cannot walk away when I'm taking objections to comments that you have made. You have to be here to listen. That's the practice. Mr. Speaker, he has said that government's intention of bringing this bill is to encourage corruption and chop chop. That is in breach of Order 93, Rule 5. So it must be expunged. He has further said that the intention of government is actually to create and share. That portion must also be expunged. Do you understand? So, Mr. Speaker, I have been trying to get these objectionable comments expunged, but he has completed his contribution, and so I leave these matters entirely in your hands. That those comments absolutely breaches Order 93 Rule 5. They are unwholesome and they are unparliamentary, and they must be expunged, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Finance Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank honorable members for their contribution and to say that when we appeared before your Committee on Finance, they raised issues and we responded to them. Members of the committee made proposals to perfect the bill. In fact, that is the essence of laying bills, referring them to committees, committee working on it and submitting same and their report to the House. On no occasion did anybody object to this bill. They have rather made inputs that we believe will make the bill better before it is passed into an act. But, Mr. Speaker, they have raised certain concerns, and I want to address them. They are trying to create an impression that because we have PPA, we do not need this value for money office. But, Mr. Speaker, we want to let everybody appreciate what PPA does. And that PPA focuses on procurement procedures to ensure transparency and fairness. They are not focused on cost efficiency. And that is what this value for money office is going to do. It is going to ensure a life cycle costing, technical soundness, and post-contract verification. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Nitiwu made us, he just reminded us of the fact that as a country, we have always subjected single source procurements to value for money and maybe restrictive tendering, but not competitive tendering. Mr. Speaker, that is true. In fact, we had a company called Crown Agents. It's a UK-based company that was here. And that company was the one that we always fell on to conduct value for money for this country. As we speak now, Crown Agents has left this country. And so there is no institution to provide this service. And so it is timely that we have our own value for money office to conduct value for money for procurements that we do in this country. Mr. Speaker, they have also suggested through their submissions that it is only sole source or competitive bidded contracts that are subject to abuse, that are subject to corruption in this country. Mr. Speaker, that is not the case. We have seen competitive bidding contracts that have been overpriced. And that is clear. We have seen evidence. In fact, we have seen cost build-ups in our contracts that shows purchasing of mobile phones for contractors, purchasing of airtime for contractors. We have seen cost lines that indicate renting hotel accommodation for contractors. All these are in competitive bidded contracts. So it is not true that only sole source or restrictive tendering that have been overpriced. So this value for money office is going to look at all these, and the office will be equipped with engineers, with quantity surveyors, with all the technical people that will be able to do this job. Mr. Speaker, the office will be required to establish benchmark values for all major projects that we have in this country. So if we take a 6-unit classroom block, this value for money office will give a benchmark cost for constructing a 6-unit classroom block to help us have value for our procurements in this country. It is never true that this office is intended for corruption. That is not the case. We are rather putting in measures to fight corruption. We also, in fact, we are those who are advocating that we must minimize sole source and single source contracts in this country. And the exception rather has become the norm. That is what we saw under you. And that is what we are changing. And we are bringing this as an additional measure to make sure that every contract we award in this country is giving value for the Ghanaian people. So support this. And you see, the committee has suggested amendments. That is the essence. We are open for this House to perfect the bill so that it will be passed into an act to help all of us as a country. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, at the conclusion of the debate, the question is, as many as are in favour of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted.
An act to establish the Value for Money Office to regulate, monitor, coordinate, promote and develop value for money assessment and provide for related matters.
Honourable members, the Value for Money Office Bill 2026 is duly read for the second time. Yes, Majority Chief Whip.
Speaker, may I pray that we take motion number 32. Speaker, which is that notwithstanding order 1691, we are not proceeding under certificate of urgency. We are prioritizing. Mr. Speaker, I so plead.
Yes, minority, the application is to take the motion number 32.
Mr. Speaker, typical of them, even when a listening government will take a cue from the opposition, even when we just advise them that this bill would open the country up for corruption. No, listen to me, listen, I'm not done. Listen. And they were to listen to us. Mr. Speaker, they now want to jump to the deposit protection bill and saying that they want to apply for a waiver. Mr. Speaker, at the beginning of this meeting, we told our colleagues at a joint meeting of leadership that this practice of hurrying bills, certificate of urgency, should be stopped. Mr. Speaker, this is another form of certificate of urgency. If you mount an application waiving the rules, you've just brought a bill. Why don't you allow the statutory notice of 48 hours to lapse? And you would want to make an application for a waiver. Mr. Speaker, on some other important matters, we decided not to pursue the quorum issue. If they want to insist, then they may have to bring their full 189 to come and conduct their business. Because as we speak, even if you add the majority leader, Tururi has just come back from cabinet, Mr. Speaker. The majority leader, they've gone to bring him to come and join and lead the charge. Mr. Speaker, he's gone to cabinet, he's tired, he has to take some rest, but he has come. Even if we add the majority leader, they are not up to 40. But count. Check your back before you make some of these questionable applications. If you want to make questionable applications, be sure you have your numbers. You don't have the numbers. Even the 40 here, some are not happy. Majority are not happy. Even the 40. It's because the chief whip is writing names and using name writing to threaten them. That's why they are here. The weak ones who don't have godfathers are here, but those with godfathers, they are defying the name writing. They won't come, Mr. Speaker. So the majority chief whip will have to consider his application. But Mr. Speaker, we've just seen the majority leader. We know he's a man who believes in good faith at times. He acts in good faith at times. We would want to just give him some silver lining. We want to extend an olive branch. You move your motion. We will not oppose it. But be of good behavior. That is advice to you.
Speaker,
Yes.
let the record reflect that I'm not writing any names and I'm not threatening my back with that. The minority leader should have his facts right. Now, Mr. Speaker, may we take motion number 32?
Yes, honorable members, but it is important to draw the attention of the House to Article 106, particularly 13. For a bill to be taken under certificate of urgency, certain things would have to occur. One, the Constitution requires that a bill must be gazetted 14 days prior to its introduction. But if the bill is going to be taken under certificate of urgency, that 14 days gazette requirement is waived based on the constitutional imperative. Even before the bill can be taken, a committee would have to determine that this particular bill is of urgent nature and it must be taken under a certificate of urgency. However, that is not the situation applicable to this particular rule. So to say that this bill is being taken under a certificate of urgency, looking at the constitutional provisions as compared to the exigencies of the case, the bill is not taken under a certificate of urgency. Yes, motion numbered 32.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that motion number 32 on today's order paper be taken today. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Motion moved. Any seconder?